Bitcoin has officially broken $105,000 per coin. Elon Musk shares an update about the Department of Government Efficiency and how it's going to stop the wasteful government spending. And one of the last things that we're going to be going over, and probably biggest piece of news, is Ripple stablecoin Rlusd is set to go live tomorrow, and a word of caution from the CTO of Ripple. So make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end of the video to find out all the details. Hey guys, Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning in my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys want to like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already, click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. If you guys could share my videos and share my channel with anyone. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can. I definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started, it's going to be a late night on Monday, December 16th. The total market cap for all cryptocurrency right now is $3.73 trillion. This is a 0.77% increase on the day today. So we're almost at a 1% increase on the day. Bitcoin did break the $105,000 per coin, currently trading at $106,932. If we look at the Bitcoin chart itself, we did see earlier today that Bitcoin did break that $107,000 per coin, and we're just had a slight retrace, and now we're coming back up on that $107,000 per coin. Ethereum did reach that $4,000 mark again, and XRP right now currently trading at $2.55, currently up 6.17% on the last 24 hours. And this is mainly due, in my opinion, again, no financial advice, is due to Rlusd set to go live tomorrow. Again, it's going to go live on Tuesday, December 17th. So when you guys are going to be watching this video, because I'm going to have it set to play at 6 a.m. Arizona time, so that would be 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are watching it, it might have already gone live. And so we are going to use some caution. Again, no financial advice. We'll talk about what David Schwartz has to say about this. Getting into our biggest gainers and losers on the day today, we see BGB currently up 10.1%. We see Crow 9.1%. And this has to do a little bit with Trump meeting with the Crypto.com owner and CEO and founder, and it was kind of interesting to see what happened with that. And again, people just buy off of the hype, so we saw, just a little bit down here at 17 cents per coin, and then shooting up to 19.6 cents per coin. Again, everyone plays, on the rumors, so buy the rumors, sell the news. So obviously, we're seeing this going up right now, and then I do see a slight retrace with this in the near future. Again, no financial advice. We see a lot in the red, and we're not going to really go over. I want to try to make this video as short as I can. Kind of tired. So right now, the IRS received $46 billion in extra funding for enforcement and raked in a massive sum of $4.7 billion. So they just got over about a 10% of their spending back. So they got $46 billion in extra funding. They spent all that to hire these extra IRS workers to come after you and me, okay? They're not going after these big fish. If they were, we would see a bigger settlement right here, an extra income in a sense from tax dollars than 4.7 billion. So we got basically 10% back of our investment. So we're at a 90% loss on that extra funding. Elon Musk shares seriously ends the IRS. We see this little frowny face right here. Obviously, I completely agree with this. The IRS is definitely going after everyone for their income taxes. And at a 90% loss, that's absolutely terrible in my opinion. And then he also shares this is a crazy price per truck. So a $10 billion program to buy EVs for the U.S. Postal Service is far behind the schedule, with defense contractor Oshkosh not disclosing significant manufacturing difficulties for more than over a year. The USPS has received only 93 trucks, far fewer than 3,000 expected by this time. And Elon Musk did come out and say that they could build these trucks for far cheaper, and I completely agree with that. And then shares how it started versus how it's going, because President-elect Trump was named Times Person of the Year. He beat out several candidates, and one of those was the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party who lost in the election to President-elect Trump, Kamala Harris. So she's our vice president right now. If she did win the presidency and she was the president-elect, obviously she probably would have won Times Person of the Year. But it's good to see the president-elect of the United States as the person of the year, and obviously this sent a lot of hysteria in the Democratic Party and those who those who oppose President-elect Trump becoming president of the United States. Paul Atkins, Donald Trump's pick to lead the SEC, once blamed an unusual suspect for the collapse of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX crypto exchange, the U.S. government itself. And with this is actually great to see. For those of you guys that don't know who Paul Atkins is, he was actually the SEC chair, I believe, from 2002 to 2008. Let's see. Paul Atkins. If we look right here, yeah, exchange commissioner from 2002 to 2008. So he already served as the SEC chair. He's basically just taking back the position. He's a little bit pro crypto. Obviously, we need some regulation, and we can't just have somebody in here that's going to let, all crypto run rampant. But obviously, right now, with the regulation that we have here, in cryptocurrency, we only have regulation by enforcement going after the good actors in this cryptocurrency space. And we saw Sam Bankman-Fried, one of the bad actors. He created the FTX exchange, was the founder and CEO of the FTX exchange at the time. They stole $8 billion worth of consumer funds, and he basically bounced to the Bahamas, got caught. But, he's serving a 20 or 25-year prison sentence right now. But, Sam Bankman-Fried ended up having meetings with the SEC chair Gary Gensler, was tied up with the Obamas, and then as well as the Bidens. Sam Bankman-Fried's parents were I think they were the second largest donations for the Democratic Party for Obama and also for Biden's presidency. So it's really interesting to see that, they let all this slide until he stole all that money, and then finally we got something out of the SEC. But we've seen them going after the good actors like Ripple with their XRP token, and then now we obviously see the XRP or the Ripple versus the SEC case going Ripple's way, and now they're coming out with their stablecoin. Stuart Alderati shares Ripple exposed the SEC's lawless tactics early on. As the court said in our case, the SEC is adopting its litigation positions to further its desired goal, not of the faithful allegiance of the law. The question isn't whether the SEC under Gensler is rogue. It is. The question is how we hold them accountable. Happy to discuss with Vivek Ramaswamy. Obviously, we're probably going to see him take some sort of role in President-elect Trump's cabinet. Only time will tell, see where he's at. Bitcoin hits new highs above 107,000, but the options market showed traders are taking a more cautious approach. And here's the reports. Again, everything's going to be linked down in the comments below, so if you guys want to click on this article, you guys can, and you guys could read a little bit more in depth. CZ shares with Bitcoin, there will only be 21 million Bitcoin to ever exist. 19.8 million Bitcoins have already been mined, so we're going to have roughly about a 1.2 billion Bitcoin or million Bitcoin left to be mined, and a bunch of people are scared about these quantum computer Bitcoin. So Google's quantum computing leap, what it means for Bitcoin security. So a bunch of people are saying like, oh, well, it's going to ruin the mining of Bitcoin. No, in my opinion, again, no financial advice. It's not going to ruin anything. Fucking 19.8 million of the 21 million Bitcoin have already been mined. So yeah, you're going to compete with, these quantum computers for what, 1.2 million Bitcoin. Congrats. They can have that, in my opinion, if they want to, if they were trying to mine it. They're going to use a lot more processing power. It's going to be really expensive up front to get these quantum computers. Obviously, some people will still obviously be able to mine their Bitcoin. They're just not going to be able to get as much competing against these quantum computers. But the majority of Bitcoin are already out. So competing against these other quantum computers, in my opinion, is nonsense. Getting into our Watcher Guru news, we see Elon Musk becomes the first person to surpass $400 billion net worth. So the only two other people I think above him right now are number 2 sits Jeff Bezos, and then number 3 is Bill Gates. And Elon Musk has a bigger combined net worth than Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates combined, which is kind of hilarious. Obviously, a bunch of people are like, oh, he bought X.com. He wasted $45 billion buying it. Fucking, he's $400 billion net worth. Like, obviously, they have no clue what they're talking about. President-elect Trump scheduling to ring the New York Stock Exchange and opening bell on Thursday. So that did happen on December, I think it was 12th. So he did ring the bell. Obviously, I think that was great news. And obviously, we're seeing a massive adoption of people accepting President-elect Trump in his role as being the future president. And obviously, it went really well for stocks and crypto. We're seeing massive gains since he's been elected the next president. Elon Musk confirms X will launch its own email service, so it's going to be competing with a lot of different email services. You have Gmail, you have Hotmail, you have MSN, you have a bunch of different ones out there. Mail.com is another one. I mean, almost anyone you can think of has these mails. But we see X expanding its business model. We're seeing that it's trying to become a finance payment service throughout the United States. It's waiting on a couple more states for regulatory approval. And then you're going to be able to buy, sell, and trade on X.com as well with finance. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. President-elect Trump says Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, will eliminate billions in waste and fraud, potentially saving $2 trillion. And this is how we start to reduce our deficit. If we look at our debt clock right now, let's check U.S. debt clock. Right now, the U.S. is currently $36.237 trillion in debt. Obviously, this is ridiculous. So we're 36,237,000,000,000 $8,170,000 in debt. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. So obviously, if we can start to reduce this deficit, even if we save $2 trillion, so even if our U.S. debt clock goes, from 36 to 34 before Trump leaves office, we're still taking steps to reduce our deficit. So we're trying to reduce as much debt. I mean, if I ran up a massive debt, they take my house from under me, they take my car, they take my house, they take anything they can get their hands on. But for some reason, whenever the U.S. runs out of money, surprise, surprise, they just print more of it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Brad Garlinghouse House did sit down with 60 Minutes. In my opinion, it was absolutely horrendous. It was a terrible 60-minute interview. Brad came out and did say that I believe it was like 90 minutes is how long the interview lasted, and they only chunked it down to I think 5 or 6 minutes. It wasn't very long for his sit-down interview that they actually aired. But he says crypto made its debut on 60 Minutes tonight. There's no doubt that these technologies will continue to become more and more mainstream, with influence and research that will continue to grow. So obviously, Brad did answer all of the questions to the best of his ability. I think he did a really great job. But I do think that a lot of these people in the crypto or in the 60 Minutes, CNBC, I think it's CBS has 60 Minutes. But they had no clue what they were talking about. They didn't really do a lot of research prior, or if they did do research, they specifically asked questions to try to make cryptocurrency like this frauds thing, because that's what they kept on going after, was like, it's being used for frauds and money laundering, it's terrible. And Brad was like, absolutely not. That's a small fraction of the bad actors. If you guys actually look at what frauds and criminal organizations and everything else start to use, the US dollar is the number one currency that's used. It's not crypto at all. And then crypto can be tracked. The US dollar is very hard to track, especially if you're not transferring it from bank to bank. If you hand somebody cash, it's almost impossible to track. So John Deaton shares it's obvious. Marge Brennan knew nothing about crypto before taking this assignment. As a trial lawyer, I appreciate the need to try and simplify the issue for the audience, most of whom know but even less about crypto than Margaret. Unfortunately, however, Margaret lost an opportunity to deliver a very balanced and insightful piece. Those who lost out, the 60 Minutes audience, considering the blowback, I hope she realizes the lost opportunity and decides to do a part 2 edition. And I completely agree with that. And again, we can see that 90-minute interview. If they do decide to air that as their second edition, I would think that would be great. Now, Ripple CEO confirms approval of the NYDFS, so the New York Department of Finance Services, approval for officials for the Rlusd stablecoin. Its exchange and partners listings will be live soon. So that was on December 10th. Today's the 16th. Tomorrow on the 17th, it goes live. So today, the wait is over. Rlusd launches globally tomorrow, so on the 17th. And now when you click on this down in the comments below, it's going to bring you to this article right here. Ripple press release, raising the standard for stablecoin. Ripple USD launches globally with unmatched utility experience and compliance. So, Ripple, the leading partner of the digital assets infrastructure for financial institutions, today announced that Ripple USD, RLUSD, will be available on global exchanges starting tomorrow, December 17th, of 2024. RLUSD is an enterprise-grade USD denominated stablecoin created with trust, utility, and compliance at its core, backed by Ripple years of experience working with crypto and the existing financial system. RLUSD will be initially available on Uphold, Bitso, MoonPay, ArcX, and CoinMina, with additional listing on platforms such as Bullish, Bitstamp, Mercado Bitcoin, Independent Reserve, Zero Hash, and others expected in the coming weeks. Each RLUSD token is fully backed by the US dollar deposits, U.S. government bonds, and cash equivalents, designed to ensure the stability, reliability, and liquidity. To maintain the highest standards for transparency, Ripple will publish monthly third-party assertions of RLUSD's reserve assets conducted by an independent auditing firm. Early on, Ripple made a deliberate choice to launch our stablecoin under the NYDFS Limited Purpose Trust Company Charter, widely regarded as the premier regulatory standard worldwide, said Brad Garlinghouse's Ripple's CEO. As the U.S. moves toward a clear regulation, we expect to see greater adoption of stablecoins like RLUSD, which offer real utility and are backed by years of trust and expertise in the industry. Now, obviously, we think that this is great news, but David Schwartz, the CTO over at Ripple, did say some cautionary information that we're going to share right now. And again, for me, I'm not touching RLUSD probably for the first week, I would say, until I think that, it seems a little bit more confident. I was going to invest, or not really invest. It's not even an investment because it's backed by a stablecoin one-to-one. But if you want to use it as an intermediate of exchange where you're going to basically just have money on the side, so instead of leaving it in XRP where the price can go up or down, you can leave it in a stablecoin where essentially you can let it sit. It can grow a little bit of interest like it would in a savings account. But you can use that as an exchange area in a sense, rather than selling your crypto and then putting it into your bank and then buying back into the exchange. You can basically just sell whatever token you have. For me, it might be a little bit of XRP, and then you would just get some RLUSD backed one-to-one. So here's the cautionary stuff and information that he says. So as RLUSD goes live, there may be a supply shortage in the very early days before the market stabilizes. There actually is someone willing to pay $1,200 per RLUSD for a tiny fraction of one RLUSD. Tools will show you that the highest price anyone is willing to pay, even if it's just for a tiny bit. Maybe someone wants the honor of buying the first bit of RLUSD on the DEX. But rest assured, the price will come back to very close to a $1 as soon as supply stabilizes. If it doesn't, something is very seriously wrong. If you want to spend a lot of money to get a tiny bit of RLUSD before anyone else does, you can, but please don't expect the price to stay over $1 once things stabilize, which I expect to do very quickly. The whole point of a stablecoin is to be a stable price. Short-term changes in price due to shortages of supply or demand are certainly possible, especially around launch, but they shouldn't remain for very long as arbitrages rapidly fix the market. Please don't FOMO into a stablecoin. This is not an opportunity to get rich. And I think that this is actually a great and interesting take on this, because a bunch of people are going to see like, oh, you can buy it for $1 and then all of a sudden it's for $1,200. They buy in, price goes up to $20. Immediately buy more and more and more, trying to think that the price is going to keep rocketing, but it's going to go back to a one-to-one stable coin. So it's not an investment. It's basically a one-to-one pegged to the US dollar. One RLUSD equals one US dollar. Okay, one George Washington bill that you can hold in your hand is all it means. So if you're paying $1,200 per RLUSD token, once it stabilizes, you will have lost out per token $1,199. So that's why I plan on waiting a little bit. Thank you guys for tuning into my video, and if you guys can invest with the big dogs, stay on the porch. Thank you guys and have a good one.